Our story begins with an ordinary librarian who once died in a fire, but was reborn in another world. The time came when the world of warriors came, in which he became a terrible teacher. Even though our protagonist got a second chance, he still continued to do nonsense. The students were discussing the latest in the teacher rankings, mocking him. A cute couple of students pass by the protagonist. "Stop there. Since when did a good-for-nothing have the right to enter the book vault?" shouted the old man, blocking the main character's way. "You came in dead last in the teacher qualification assessment. How dare you trick the young lady into being your student," said the old man angrily. The protagonist intends to change his life by becoming much stronger. He traveled to another dimension. 10, where he saw a magic grimoire above him. The teacher asked the students about their weaknesses, and he actually already knew the truth. "Do you usually feel a dull pain at the donjong and juk acupoints?" he asked the student. All his students were shocked at how he knew this. The teacher assures the student that from this day on he will compensate for all his weaknesses. The students kneeled down and asked the teacher to accept their obedience. The other teachers were unhappy with the main character's behavior. And one of them became so angry that he swung his sword at him furiously. But our hero easily stopped the blow with just 2 fingers. 20. The teacher easily scattered the rest of the people who displeased him. "All of you will come to fear me. I will break the shackles of this world." The protagonist repeated again about his past life and rebirth in this world. He saw the girl and licked the knife. "How about it?" he asked the girl, putting the knife to her throat. "Do you want?" the girl asked him fearfully. Our main character wanted her to be his student, as he is the most popular teacher in the school. The girl thought that Mr. Lu Sun was the most capable, but the teacher denied it, saying that he was stronger than him. The girl then asked him to tell her his name. 30, to which he heroically replied Zhang Xian. In response to his introduction, the teacher was slapped hard. The girl left him in a very angry mood. The protagonist wonders why it's so hard to recruit students. Probably because he is the worst teacher in the whole university. Thinking this, he sat outside an empty and old building with not a single student in it. The students found him unbearable, and as a result he started drinking a lot. He had to find students or he would be fired. Suddenly someone disturbed him. 40. It was a beautiful pink-haired girl. The teacher was getting excited, thinking it was his new student. "Do you want to become his student?" he asked the girl. To which she agreed with great enthusiasm. Teachers are just like shoes, and you have to see whether they fit or not. If his teaching methods don't suit you, it won't matter how well he issues instruction. However, even if a teacher isn't well known, if his teachings click with you, you will see better and faster results, the teacher assured her. The girl doesn't know which teacher might be right for her. The protagonist asks for a demonstration of skills to help her choose a mentor. The girl clenched her palms tightly into a fist and started to show her skills. 50. The teacher couldn't see anything from there. With a smile on his face, the protagonist wants to play around a bit. The girl takes a little break. Asking the teacher what he thinks, the teacher starts praising her for her good bass, saying she has a rare talent. She has good footwork. According to the teacher, this is the most important thing. But then the girl said that her leg was damaged and there was no chance for rehabilitation. But the teacher continued to praise her despite her leg injury. "What an advantage?" the girl asked. The protagonist demonstrates her advantage, which was hope. 60. The girl was very happy to hear this. But only 3 teachers in this academy would be able to spot such an opportunity. "I'm one of them, and the other 2 have already stopped accepting students," the teacher informed her. The girl sadly asked if our teacher was still accepting students, immediately falling on her knees. The student began to beg to be accepted as a student. The main character's cunning plan worked. He asked the girl to sign a contract with him by slightly cutting her finger with a knife. The blood from the girl's finger dripped onto his artifact. Now the girl became our teacher's apprentice, after which he asked her to tell him her name. "My name is Ing," she replied. 70 The teacher pushed his student out of the gate and told her that she would have classes tomorrow. The protagonist had finally found a student, now he wouldn't be expelled. Zhang Xian relaxed, saying that he would take care of his student. He started to feel very bad. He started to lose his balance, falling to the floor. Starting to fall somewhere. The teacher flew deep down into an unknown and bright glow. He woke up not realizing what was happening. The protagonist sat in front of a huge gate wondering where he was. 80 Library of the Heavenly Path, what just happened? I didn't traverse into another world again, did I? Thinking this, the teacher began to open the huge gate. He entered an unknown dimension. The protagonist was very surprised by the luxury and beauty of this book dimension. Zhang Xian looked around with great interest. He was already very eager to see what was inside these books. Maybe they're all about superior techniques, the teacher guessed. He reached for a book and realized that the shelves and books were not material. The protagonist began to get nervous because everything in this dimension is material. Soon Zhang Xian returned back to his dimension and began to ponder where he was. 90 soon realized that thinking now is useless, and needs something to eat. "Hey, Zhang Xian," someone called out to him from behind. It was another academy teacher who had come to mock the protagonist. "You don't have to show off, and whether or not I have some students is of no concern of yours," replied Zhang Xian. But that teacher didn't listen to him at all and continued to mock him. The students also laughed at him. Our protagonist didn't care about their opinion at all, as he was very hungry. "You're rather infamous as a teacher, don't you feel a sense of shame?" another teacher asked him. But our teacher didn't care, as his interlocutor was not superior to him in any way, he was just showing off. Ing and her brother walked by the group. 100 She told him that Zhang Xian's teacher was very good. "Your brother told you to choose Mr. Lu Sun as your teacher, but you went behind his back and chose this useless man instead," her older brother told her. "Is that your newly recruited student?" another teacher asked our protagonist with a sneer. The student's older brother says that she intends to leave the teacher's class. Zhang Xian asks Ing if she really wants to leave. Next, our protagonist warns his student's older brother that she risks getting a bad reputation if she leaves her teacher. "Just relax. She is quite talented, after all, let me teach her, and she'll soar," the teacher tells his interlocutor. Suddenly the other teacher asks to stop, saying that if the student leaves the protagonist, he will gladly take her in. He then suggests that our teacher should have a duel. Zhang Xian thinks about the proposal, knowing that the opponent is clearly stronger than him. 110 Okay, you're on, the teacher frowned and agreed. The students began to converge on the training field. This place was called the practice field. According to the rules of the university, teachers must first demonstrate their students. Ing started first by standing in a stance. Swinging her right hand. Weakly hit her target, which is the stone. The stone yielded 53 points. Another teacher commented that she had a well-developed upper body, but her legs were clearly a problem. He was able to tell at a glance that her legs had been injured, thought Zhang Xian. 120 which made him nervous. The other teacher said he would tell the student what could be done with her leg. Our protagonist does not hear what they are discussing. Ing goes back to the stance that the other teacher advised her to do. Making a strong root support. And swings at the stone once again. The kick came out clearly better, scoring 63 points. The other students were shocked to see such rapid progress. Next, the student asks our protagonist for advice. "Hold on," said the teacher thinking it was unfair. 1:30 The other teacher and the student were a little surprised. Why should I have to give up on Wang Ying if I lose, while you get no punishment if you lose? Asked Zhang Xian. The other teacher was a little surprised to hear this. Offering his student if the protagonist wins. But that wasn't enough for the teacher. Next, Lu Yang's disciple kicked the stone. Using his special striking techniques. The apprentice swings, thinking that it is better to die than to become the apprentice of the last teacher on the list. Zhang Xian wonders what the student is doing wrong. Then the protagonist had a realization. 1:40 He was back in the book dimension. Why I am here again, thought the protagonist. Sitting on the platform and looking at the phrase in front of him. Next, the protagonist notices a grimoire flying towards him. This book seems to be to the real, he thought to himself while reaching for the book. On the cover of this book was the name Lu Yang. The teacher reading this book began to learn everything about the student. He kept reading interesting facts about the student. Lu Yang finally hit the stone, earning only 62 points. The second teacher asked the protagonist to proceed with the recommendations. The welcoming gift seems good, thought Zhang Xian. The protagonist smiled in anticipation of the fun. He noticed that the student had more than 12 mistakes, which made everyone start laughing. The protagonist was disappointed and had already lost his desire to compete. He called the student with him as he was about to leave. But he was stopped by another teacher who said that they trusted the protagonist. Zhang Xian warned the student in further surprise. The teacher makes a wave with his right hand. 160 advising the student to hit him with his left. It sounded strange to the student. The second teacher tells the student to just do as told. Lu Yang takes a swing with his left hand. And hits the rock a little surprised. The other teacher got a big shock when he saw that. Lu Yang scored 123 points. The student sat there not understanding what happened and how he managed to hit so much harder. Even the student himself was surprised at his success. Zhang Xian smirked silently as he saw that his recommendation had worked. 170 The second teacher, angry at his defeat, pulls something out of his pocket. He bites his index and middle fingers. And smears his blood on the artifact. The other teacher releases the student saying that Zhang Xian is his new teacher. He calls the rest of his students to leave. The second teacher angrily leaves the training field. The teacher tosses his new student an artifact asking him to authenticate the identity on it. Lu Yang leaves his blood on the artifact. The students discuss recent events amongst themselves. 180 Also talking about our protagonist. They say that Zhang Xian has increased his punching power by 100%. 100%, the girl thought in wonder. Justifying that he was just lucky. Her interlocutors did not consider it luck, as 100% is a serious increase. The girl wanted to go and teach our protagonist a lesson. Still, she came to his school. While he was thinking about the Library of Heaven's Path. Are you Mr. Zhang Xian? The girl asked. The teacher confirmed his identity. 190 She asked him to prove his skill by giving her a few tips. He reluctantly refused. Zhang Xian said that he was recruiting students, not helping for thanks. The girl was already angry when she asked him what he wanted from her. He offered her to be his apprentice. She thought about the teacher's offer for a long time. And finally, thinking to herself, agreed. Hearing this, her past interlocutors think it's terrible. And they run away with the idea of telling her family. The teacher changes her mind, saying she's very impatient. 200 which makes her even more angry on the inside. And apologized politely on the outside. He's more comfortable with that kind of treatment. If you want to be my student, clean the room and make it spotless. On top of that, you should clean the bathroom outside and scrub the toilet. if you pass my inspection of these tasks, I'll accept you, said Zhang Xian. Zhao Ye got angry, thinking it was already impertinent. Hearing this, the teacher did not hesitate to tell her to leave. The protagonist chose to get straight to the point, saying that flaws are her disease. The girl, pretending to be joking, takes up the task of cleaning. Zhao Ye cleans, with the idea of getting back at the protagonist. Finally, she finished cleaning, for which she received praise from the teacher. Next, he held out an artifact to her, like all the students, for her to confirm her identity. 210 She accepted his offer with a smile, but in her heart, she wanted to break his self-confidence. Zhang Xian asked the girl to show her punch to see what level she was at now. Zhao Ye doesn't consider it a serious test. She's using her martial art now, thought the teacher while looking at the student. It's time for the Heaven's Path Library. The teacher is trying to find this student's book. But the book falls into his hands. As expected, the weaknesses of her martial arts are recorded here, he thought holding the book in his hand. The book had all the detailed information about her. The teacher thought that there was nothing special about her. 220 Oh my God, this is pure, he thought as he saw her. How hard she was hitting the stone. Looking at her score, she saw 123 points. Zhang Xian praises the new student. Next, the student asked the teacher to point out her mistakes. Clutching a yellow round crystal in her hand behind her back. She anticipated that the teacher would embarrass herself. The teacher said that flaws are her disease. Zhao Ye embarrassedly denied it. The teacher calmed her down and said he would not scold her. 230 The student continued to deny being unwell. He asks her not to, citing facts about her body. And also joking about her irritation during training. Zhao Ye was shocked by his knowledge, asking how he knows this. Because I'm your teacher, the teacher replied with a smile. Next, the student asked the teacher if there was a solution to her problem. Zhang Xian said that she should be in class tomorrow, and then he would explain everything to her. If you don't believe me, you can go to other teachers, he told the student. The teacher noticed the girl's yellow crystal and asked her if she wanted to keep it. Zhao Ye crushed the stone in her hand. 240 She realized that the teacher had recognized her illness and knew that she had recorded it on the crystal. Zhang Xian was about to leave. Someone was running very fast from afar. Soon stopping abruptly at the scene of the previous events. It was Yao Han, the steward of Baiyu City. Also known as the brother of Zhao Ye's apprentice. He asks his sister if she became our protagonist's disciple. Yes, I did, she answered him. Yao Han then asked for her release, warning that if she refused, he would go to the principal and seek the teacher's expulsion. Zhao Ye stopped her brother, saying that she had voluntarily become his student. But he was not satisfied with her decision and asked if Zhang Xian could increase her strength. 250 To which she embarrassedly replied no. The female student tried her best to convince her brother. Yao Han noticed the crystal shards on the floor. He was very angry, his eyes burning. The apprentice's brother once again asked her to let her go immediately, saying that otherwise he would kill the teacher right here. The female student stopped the conflict in time and calmed her brother down. Yao Han quickly came to his senses. Zhao Ye takes his brother's hand and they leave. But the brother still stares angrily at the teacher. Zhang Xian didn't understand his anger as he just accepted the student. 260 There are two boys, one of them was not accepted as a student, and he was very upset, while the other tried to cheer him up. The first one was also upset because the second one would be ahead of him. Then one of them noticed something. He saw the first teacher's classroom and suggested they go in. They entered the open gate. The teacher asked if he wanted to become his student. Mo Xiao was in charge of his comrade by himself. Zhang Xian, like all his previous students, asked him to show off his skills. He was a little afraid, but his friend supported him even more. The guy silently remarked that the area looked very unkept, demonstrating all his skills with his spear. The boy swung and with great speed, unfortunately hit the rock a little weakly. He only managed to hit 123 points. Afterwards, he asked his teacher for advice. He noticed that Zhang Xian wasn't even looking at him. The boy desperately thought that he was just as he had originally imagined him to be. The teacher said that the student felt humiliated. He was very surprised. He thought it was his own business and had nothing to do with the training. The teacher proved otherwise, saying that the student was thinking about the present moment, not caring about what would happen afterward. Zhang Xian reasoned that the student's emotional trauma made him indecisive. The kid continued to marvel at the teacher's knowledge. The teacher reiterated that the impact directly depends on the emotional state. The two boys were greatly shocked. Zhang Xian gave the student the advice that to gain respect in a relationship, you need to be strong. The teacher added that the student needs to sort himself out. Life is full of ups and downs, no one should look down a young man, Zhang Xian enlightened the boy. The student repeated after the teacher. The protagonist told the guy to hit again. The disciple stood in his stance with his spear raised. He looked at his target with concentration. A quick swing of the spear was heading straight ahead. The boy hit the rock very hard, earning his well-deserved 235 points. Mo Xiao was completely shocked to see his comrade's strength more than doubled. The kid immediately asked to become a disciple, but first he had to authenticate his identity on the artifact. Mo Xiao became a bit envious. Thinking why he had never heard of such a teacher, he asked him to give his name. Zhang Xian introduced himself, and the student immediately thought of the terrible teacher of the university. The teacher was that terrible teacher, that's what he told the guy. The two guys were petrified with shock. The student immediately asked the teacher why he was so self-critical. People are always jealous of the talented, don't take it to heart, the teacher answered him. The student wants to pay tribute to his teacher, but all the teacher wants is hard work in his lessons. The teacher said goodbye to the new student, telling him not to be late tomorrow. Zhang Xian was happy since he already has 4 students, but he had spent a whole registration mark and needed new ones. He went to the logistics building to get them. He walked into the building hoping they would be there, but was a little disappointed because they were all taken apart. Suddenly someone approached our teacher. It was Qian Biao and the other teachers. In the teacher's memory, Qian Biao was always bullying him because he had a bad reputation and a small salary. Zhang Xian said that he had just run out of registration tokens and wanted to take more. Qian Biao and the other teachers started to mock our protagonist because they didn't believe him. Oh, don't you believe it, wanna make a bet, the teacher offers him. The big guy agrees to the bet, asking the teacher what he can put on the line. The teacher puts his face on the line, the loser gets 3 slaps in public. Qian Biao approves of the terms. But he specified that if Zhang Xian loses, he will get slaps from the other teachers as well. An education bureau, which was the name of a magazine, fell on the windowsill. This journal contained information about students' affiliation with their teachers. The teachers found something, our protagonist was indeed recognized by 4 students. Qian Biao was astonished. He couldn't believe it and snatched the journal from one of the teachers to see for himself. The big guy first mentioned the Ying student without much surprise. Then he realized that she had a 67th place in the entrance exam, and was the daughter of the Wang family, and became a little indignant. He opened his mouth wide and was completely shocked that Zhaoye herself, who ranked 7th in the entrance exam and is the daughter of the Lord of Baiyu City, is our teacher's student. Qian Biao didn't believe him, saying that he was just messing with the kids' minds. But the teacher didn't care whether he believed him or not, since he had won the bet. It was time to carry out the punishment. The teacher was not going to let himself be beaten, reasoning that they would beat him themselves. This did not surprise the teacher. He questioned them again. The teachers again answered no with a desire to teach our teacher a little lesson. One of them had already swung his palm. Someone's blood flew to the side. Qian Biao thought the blood was unnecessary. The students were surprised to see the blood, as it was not our main characters. It was the blood of one of the teachers. The big guy was angry at what he saw and couldn't believe it. Zhang Xian simply gestured with his finger and showed them to come over. The teachers all ran towards him together. The protagonist closed his eyes, focusing on the running targets. He found himself in the Library of Heaven's Path, and raising his right hand, grimoires began to fly forward. The teacher ran to meet his opponents. He eliminates the first one by pressing on his weak point. The teacher eliminates the second one by pushing on his weak point as well. Zhang Xian was even able to hit the third by pressing the weak point on his abdomen. They were all as if they were paralyzed from just a single touch. The teacher easily looked at the lying opponents. It was all thanks to the heavenly encyclopedia. Qian Biao heavily asked the teacher how on earth he knew about their weak points. Zhang Xian said that none of this would have happened if they had fulfilled their promise. The big man threatened to write a complaint against the teacher. The teacher still dared to be impertinent after the defeat. The protagonist is already seriously dissatisfied with the behavior of these teachers, saying that they use meanness. And decides to do the same himself. The teacher recalls how Qian Biao stole the elder's treasure and gave it to a woman to please him. Mr. Bai Lin, in turn, insulted a girl to the point of suicide. And Mr. Du Chun took away his brother's business by poisoning him. The teachers were so shocked that their faces didn't look human. They were on their knees apologizing to the teacher, asking for mercy. But the teacher has no time to deal with their mistakes, so he gave a final warning. Qian Biao kneels down to provide an open chest of registration tokens. They see him off with a smile while waving their hands. The teacher is satisfied with his exciting life. Zhang Xian noticed the trio pampering near the river. The fat guy wanted to die. The girl told him that he didn't have to pull someone with him. He seemed to calm down and understood. He grabbed the girl's leg. The girl grabbed the guy's pants. The world is a mess, what's going on there, thought the teacher. Zhang Xian just walks away from the scene. Someone in the crowd saw the teacher's uniform on our protagonist and clung to his leg. The boy and girl quickly run away after thanking the teacher. The teacher asks the kid to unhook himself from his leg while he whines for 10 refusals of patronage, asking the teacher to take him on as a student. But our teacher, like everyone else, needs to see the kid's abilities and asks him to do just that. Then the bricks began to fall one on one. The boy took a couple of bricks from a pile of bricks lying around. And started hitting himself on the head. On his forearm, breaking the brick in half. On the shoulder again, leaving the brick in 2 halves. On the knee in the end, with the same result. The teacher didn't really understand why the guy was hitting himself, so he asked him so. Zhang Xian once again found himself in the library of the Heavenly Path to find out about this guy. He was a little disappointed to read that the guy had a weak character and unstable training, and was generally not capable enough. But he had the power of imperial blood, which shocked the teacher. In this world, birth data and blood are not of great importance. There are several kinds of bodies in the world. There are also several kinds of blood in the world. Our guy has one of the best in blood defense. The teacher got excited about this kid, decided he had to take him on. He agreed to be his teacher, handing over his ID badge. The kid drops a drop of blood on the badge, becoming a student. He rejoiced, now he had a teacher. 2 disciples approached them, namely Shang Bin, the grandson of the academy's elder and one of Shunbairu's fans. Shunbairu is one of the best students in the college with many fans. Earlier, Shang Bin called our teacher and his student trash, which Zhang Xian asked him about. Shang Bin said it was about the teacher. But the teacher, in a moment, jabbed him, saying that it smelled as soon as he appeared. Shang Bin was angry because he was embarrassed in front of the girl. The guy only now noticed that the girl was laughing at him. Shang Bin continued to speak negatively about the teacher and student. He laughingly called it a coincidence that the student and teacher were at the end of the list. What shocked the student was that he didn't know that his teacher was the same Zhang Xian at the end of the list of teachers. The teacher asked if he had finished speaking, if so, he could go. Shang Bin grimaced, he was clearly unhappy with this humiliation. Suggesting Shunbairu get out of here, but she decided to go to the teacher. The girl supported our teacher, saying that hard work will lead to success. The teacher thanked the girl for her parting words, saying that his student would shine in the future. Shunbairu then tells the guy that there is no need to follow her, she wants to rest for a while. Enraged, Shang Bin said that he would make the teacher answer for everything. The student wants to leave quietly, but the teacher noticed this and stopped him in time. The guy says that he is too bad, and this can ruin the reputation of the teacher, it might be better to let him go. Zhang Xian suddenly grabbed his hand. The teacher clearly answers no, since the student has already dripped blood and now he is with him to the end. The following shows our teacher's room. Today was the last day of enrollment. Tomorrow was supposed to be class. Teacher used to train on the principle of the 9 paths. Zhang Xian began to meditate, thinking about the need to catch up with the rank 4 teachers. The main character went to a large library, in which I wanted to find a method to train more successfully. The essence of true qi unification is a very slow and difficult process, even some teachers study it for 3 years to achieve an acceptable result. The teacher thought about tomorrow's classes, and immediately remembered the library of the heavenly path, in the case of jams. But if he collects enough information about other ways of learning, then he will balance the systems. Zhang Xian spoke to Elder Mo. Venerable Mo was one of the library keepers, so he asked the teacher what he was doing in the library at this time. Zhang Xian replied that he was going to cross the 3rd rank, but he had a couple of questions that he could find out in the library. Elder Mo consoled the teacher, saying that there is nothing wrong with a teacher's slow cultivation. He also added that the information about the 3rd rank is on the 4th row of the Kung Fu manual. Well, he's good, it's a pity that he's not very talented, Elder Mo thought. The teacher went to the library and was surprised at the number of books. Zhang Xian seems to have found what he needs. He took one of the books and wondered how other techniques work. Master appeared at the Skyway Library holding a book that described more than 3,000 flaws. He did not consider it particularly possible to correct so many shortcomings. But he immediately encouraged himself that he did not need to correct all these shortcomings. He just has to correct the moment that interferes precisely at his stage. The teacher continued to read this book. But he remembered something. If he is in the library, then why not get information about the 4th and 5th ranks? The teacher began to read with great interest. He read more books. He eventually read all the books on the shelves. Elder Mo thought about the noise in the library. Zhang Xian finally finished reading. The teacher left the big library. Mr. Mo asked him why he shouldn't take a copy of one of the books with him, to which the teacher replied that his question was not that deep. Zhang Xian said goodbye to Elder Mo. Mr. Mo thought he should ask the dean to keep a closer eye on the students. Next, the teacher's room was shown in the middle of the dead of night. He sat at his desk and thought that he had collected everything he needed with the help of the Skyway Library. All of a sudden he was shocked. He ended up in the Skyway Library. books started falling on him. And he noticed them, for so many books were falling. A bright light appeared above him. It strongly blinded him with its brightness. And then a mysterious book appeared from this glow. This book started flying right into his hand. This book had all the structured information. The teacher thought that the information in this book could not belong to any of the known teachings. Also, this book was untitled. The teacher wondered what to name this book. He ended up calling it the Skyway Technique. The title itself appeared on the book. The teacher closed his eyes. Began to collect all the spiritual energy in his hands. She got bigger and bigger. As a result, the maximum amount of energy accumulated. There was an explosion of the elements, which caused a large flow of wind. The teacher slowly opened his eyes. He was surprised by such a quick breakthrough. It only took him half a night to reach the 5th rank of Qi. It looks like his training has improved the quality of his Qi. Most likely this is all thanks to the Skyway Library. The teacher was very happy and pleased. His Qi was definitely of the highest quality. He wanted to see his abilities. Zhang Xian went out into the courtyard and stood in front of a stone. This will be his first stroke after meditation. The teacher makes a very strong swing, which was filled with Qi energy. And the stone strikes with great force. He stood in the rack and looked at the result. His result was as much as 8 din, which translates to 1,000 kilograms. The protagonist was shocked by his result, thinking for a second that the machine was faulty, since the strength was equal to a sage of the 6th rank. All the same, the new system influenced more on the energy of the body, and not on its strength, the teacher thought. He considered it best to keep his achievement of rank 5 overnight a secret. The teacher heard something and looked around. It looks like someone came to him at such a late time. Zhang Xian stood neatly around the corner. He notices someone waiting. Apparently it was the brother of his student. The teacher decided not to give himself away by disguising himself a little. Suddenly our teacher was noticed from behind, which scared him a little. The teacher decided to act like a spy, saying that his goal was also to kill the teacher of the loser. This villain told him to kill the teacher, and he, in turn, would cover for him. The teacher was a little surprised by what he heard, since this infiltrator himself wanted to kill him. He, in turn, replied that he did not want to kill the teacher, he just wanted to teach a lesson. He wants to cut off his penis, making him a Jew, for being unfair to his younger sister. Zhang Huan imagined what it would be like if he went to bed. They argue among each other which of them will go first. The spy considers their joint desire to kill the teacher a coincidence, and decided to offer to go together. The teacher agreed with him, thinking that he was very suspicious. Our main character makes a breakthrough to get closer to his ally, so to speak. Further, this spy advises our teacher to focus on his energy in order to better attack. The master is lucky to infiltrate the Skyway Library. There, on the cover of the book, he sees a name very familiar to him. Zhang Huan learns that this is Yao Han, a servant of the Baiyun house, a 6th rank fighter who discovered 8 chakra points, namely the brother of his student. The teacher got a little burnt, as Yao Han is a 6th rank fighter and beats 12 dings. But he understands that in a direct confrontation he will definitely lose. Still, everyone has their flaws, which makes the teacher smile slyly. It becomes funny to him and he laughs out loud. Yao Hang hears this and asks what is wrong with him. Zhang Huan plays a joke on him, allegedly seeing a UFO. The spy is led to it, but cannot see it. The teacher swings his right leg and kicks the villain right in the ass. His weakness was that he couldn't parry punches in the ass, from which he flies right into the fence, severely destroying it with their arrival. He obviously got hit hard, he was a little stunned. The teacher approaches him asking if rank 6 shouldn't be stronger. But Yao Han still didn't understand that he was hit by Zhang Huan. But the teacher doesn't like the fact that the spy is still talking. And he already feels like a real monster. A dog ran past these incidents, which decided to stop and go to the toilet. But when he sees what the teacher is doing with his rival, he runs away in fear. In the end, the teacher finished off his rival, which made him feel better. Yao Han lay all beaten up, with a black eye. But still, he is not completely weak, so he could barely get up, but the teacher needed to divert suspicion from himself. He decides to blame it all on the boy he met this afternoon. Zhang Huan, posing as the boy he met today, says that the castration of the teacher is not what he wants. He obviously doesn't want to take on the responsibility of being a spy, as Shinbairu will think he did it. Yao Han silently looked at the offender. The teacher, angrily looking at the opponent, says to get out of here. Yao Han barely managed to get away. The protagonist consoled himself that he practiced today. It takes strength to survive here, the teacher thought. The next morning came. It was the first day of school for our protagonist. Everyone was there, except for one student, namely Zhaoya, who was supposed to come later. The teacher explained that individuality is important to him, so he will work on the style of each of his students. Zhang Huan chose Ying first. She became his first student, so he chose her. Yesterday, after she returned home, she found out that the teacher is indeed a liar. And now she doesn't want to deal with him. The teacher asks the student to show her punch again to look at it more closely. She thinks there's too little space. The girl stood in her stance, a little worried. Ying hit the teacher's palm. The teacher assessed her blow as not bad. The student did not have time to finish, as the teacher immediately interrupted her. He said that her leg was wounded in combat 2 years ago. She was surprised by what she heard, how he could understand the cause and time of the wound. There are 3 points in the human foot that are responsible for strength, agility, and speed. Her opponent hit the point responsible for strength, which is why she is not able to be on a par with others. She's amazed because the best doctor they've called in has said the same thing. Ying asked if the teacher could cure her, which he considered a trifle. She was even more surprised by the teacher's opinion, because she thought that the injury could not be healed. The teacher told her that he had called her here to heal her. Then he asks to sit down and relax the body. Sitting on the bench, she was confident in her teacher. Zhang Huan looked at the needle. And threw it at high speed. Ying was a little embarrassed. This technique requires tight control over the flight of the needle, and you need to hit the target exactly. Had the university's worst teacher reached the 5th rank, she thought. The teacher continued to throw needles at the student's leg. There were already enough needles in her leg. Our protagonist began to carry out the introduction of true qi. The student was getting a little sick. She was covered with sweat. The purest qi flowed through her body. She was amazed at this qi skill. The teacher gradually began to pull the needles out of the student's leg when she simply did not believe what had happened. He looked at the student with a smile and was sure that he had cured her. Ying began to feel her legs more accurately and distinctly. She had waited so long for this moment, almost losing hope of recovery. The student thanked the teacher on her knees. He asked her to train hard from now on. Suddenly, Lu Yang wanted to leave the teacher. And a plump student with great potential decided to go with him. He also wanted to leave, but he was afraid that the teacher would get angry. But to the one who suggested it seemed better than staying here. They didn't even know his rank and were sure that when Ying came out, he would convince them of it. Suddenly, the door where the teacher and Wan Yin were inside opened. The students noticed it right away. Ying and the teacher left the room. The student was very pleased. Which greatly shocked the student who wanted to leave. Lu Yang and the chubby student noticed that the girl didn't look disappointed. Ing looked happy, which made the student angry. Suddenly, someone pushes the door to the classroom. It was Xiaoya with her older brother. The teacher wanted to ask what kind of disabled person was next to the student, which surprised them both. Yao Han was furious, calling the teacher in response. He said that he came to check how the teacher was teaching the lesson. But Zhang Huan said that he needed silence, and that this was not a passage courtyard for all sorts of rabble to come here. Yao Han gets even angrier and threatens to slap the teacher right now. Further, the teacher told the student to take care of his relative, since he could not cope with him. Xiaoya pushed her brother out the door. He stood in a stupor behind the doors, still yelling at the teacher to stay out of his sight. Next up was Lu Yang, to which he readily agreed. He asked the teacher if it was necessary to practice kung fu, but the teacher told him that it was useless, justifying the fact that the Feijoa strike is the level of a beginner, although his Kunlun strike is on top. The student was a little surprised when he asked how the teacher knew about his Kunlun training. Yesterday, the teacher noticed the Kunlun style in the Feijoa strike. From what Lu Yang heard, he was even more shocked. Zhang Huan also noticed that during the Kunlun strike, the student's pain in the armpits and itching in the shoulder intensified. The student fell into shock. How does the teacher know about this? The body of a Kunlun master is perceived as the body of a dragon. If a warrior has reached the rank of skin and bone purification, there will be no side effects, since the qi energy will nourish the muscles and bones of its wearer. But the student was only at the second wind rank, so his body is still too weak. The Kunlun will hurt him. Over time, the injury will become more serious. The student was upset by what he heard. If Lu Yang continues like this, his hand will atrophy and it will be beyond saving. The student just fell to his knees and asked the teacher for help. The teacher said not to worry and stop practicing Kunlun. Lu Yang realized that he was wrong when he thought that the teacher was bad. The door of the room in which there was a student and a teacher opened. The students noticed that Lu Yang came out. One of them asked if he would leave the teacher. But he did not understand at all what it was about, since he was completely immersed in thoughts that the teacher would help him, and there is no point in retreating. The disciples were a little surprised to hear this from the one who wanted to leave first. Xiaoya was surprised and asked the teacher again. He confirmed her words, saying that she really has a yin body that any girl dreams of. Unfortunately, no one noticed this, and she adds yin energy to her already existing one. This is a direct path to ailments, the teacher said. The teacher also added that the only way to get rid of the pain is to change the training method to one that suits her body. He will go to the library tomorrow and try to find something for the student. Xiaoya thanked the teacher with a slight bow. 9 Paths of Han Tin for the first rank, that was the name of the book that the student held in his hands. The chubby student had already begun to sob and thank the teacher for his concern. He could not restrain himself and hugged the teacher, which was too close contact for him. It was unpleasant for the teacher to be in the arms of a student. Zheng Yang's strength also increased greatly after the teacher's recommendation. Zhang Huan has taken into account almost all the individual recommendations of the students, but success cannot be achieved with simple words. Suddenly, someone kicks the door open. The students looked around to see who it was. Apparently it was Ying's brother, whose name was Wang Tao. He was a rank 4 fighter. He wanted the teacher to stop teaching Ying and Xiaoya. He also interrupted the lesson with his screams, which the teacher did not really like. But Wang Tao did not believe that a teacher could teach anything with his skills. A huge yellow tiger appeared above the teacher, which seriously frightened the guy. Wang Tao thought about this aura, and realized that only the elder had it, but he still considered it disgusting to be afraid of a weakling like a teacher. He gripped the hilt of his sword and began to take it out of its sheath, making a sharp leap forward to the teacher. Very quickly flew through the sister. And in flight he swung his sword at the teacher. Ing began to worry about the teacher. Wang Tao almost hit the teacher with his sword, but he was able to easily stop the blow with just 2 fingers. The boy was stunned as he thought that a rank 3 teacher would not be able to stop his attack with just 2 fingers. Even some chakra opening masters could not do this. Wang Tao angrily considered this a coincidence. He asked to let go of the sword and fight in a fair fight. Master easily lowered his sword along with him to the ground. Zhang Huan was completely focused on teaching the lesson and not on pointless fights. The guy was already blushing with anger, because he did not believe that the teacher had a rank higher than the 3rd. Even if he has strengthened, he should be at the 1st stage of the 4th rank. Wang Tao so enraged the teacher that he wanted to kill him. Zhang Huan could not stand it and pushed the guy a very long distance. Outside the gates of the teacher's school, Yao Han stood, thinking that Wang Tao had taught the teacher a lesson. He decided to open the gate a little and see how the teacher begs for mercy. But suddenly something surprised. Wang Tao flew so far that he crashed back into the gate behind which Yao Han was standing. He knocked out the gate due to the high speed of flight. The guy, along with the hurt uncle, crashed into the fence, from which they received a slight stun. The teacher announced that the lesson was going on. The students were shocked by what they saw. Everyone was amazed at the strength of the last one on the list of teachers. It all meant only one thing. The teacher hid his great strength. Yao Han asks the boy if he didn't want to teach the teacher what happened. He justified himself by using a new technique on the teacher, which he had not yet mastered very well. Uncle was not particularly pleased with what he heard. Wang Tao said that the university has a policy not to interrupt the class, and suggested waiting. Yao Han wanted to ask the guy something. He asked about the teacher, who has a bai in her name, if she had fans. Wang Tao immediately thought of Shinbairu, the local beauty ideal, and her biggest fan is Shangbin. The teacher only had to find out if there was a conflict between the teacher and Shangbin's. The following is a beautiful building that looks like someone's office. It was the office of the grandson of the elder. Chao Xiong came to him, accusing our main character of deceiving his student. Shangbin said that he would decide everything himself. He always wanted to teach a teacher a lesson and now is the right time. They went straight to the teacher's school. As they approached their destination, they spotted Wang Tao. Shangbin asked the guy why he wasn't in training. Yao Han and Wang Tao spotted Shangbin's mentor. The student said that Zhang Huan was cheating on his sister and he came to deal with it. The grandson of the elder was not satisfied with this, and he wanted to put the teacher in his place. He also introduced the man standing next to him, saying that his ward was also taken by deception. Shangbin was already seriously surprised. He offered to go together and teach the teacher a lesson. The teacher calmly lectured the students. The students listened to the teacher describe and were shocked by such professionalism. They were completely captured by the teacher, which seemed strange to him. The doors to the class where the classes were held began to open. These were 4 persons who were previously going to receive a teacher. The teacher noticed that Mr. Shangbin and Mr. Chao Xiong had come to see him. Shangbin said that the teacher was cheating by citing Ying and Zhaoye as victims of his deception. The teacher gets angry, saying that after class he will listen to him. But that becomes more fun from the fact that the teacher is angry. Shangbin wants the teacher to let the students go, otherwise he will have to force him. Zhang Huan asked him what he was going to do. Fights between teachers are prohibited in the university. But Shangbin believes that the teacher should get what he deserves and he is not afraid of the rules. The teacher asked the boy if he was really hurt by yesterday's words, saying Shinbairu would get angry when he found out about his behavior. The guy was not worried about such nonsense, since he had already finally decided to teach the teacher a lesson. Yao Han realized that the person who hit him last night was standing in front of him. Shangbin turns around, anticipating something, and notices a fist flying at him. Where without blood from the blow. Yao Han hit the guy on the nose, which made him not understand why he hit him. Uncle was furious, saying that the guy knows perfectly well what he got. Shangbin said that in the event of a second strike, he would respond in kind. The guy was even more surprised. Yao Han continued to beat the guy hard. Chao Xiong and Wang Tao did not understand what was happening at all. The ingenious plan of the teacher worked, a fight broke out. Wang Tao managed to hold back Yao Hang's. And Chao Xiong detained the beaten Shangbins. Even the teacher decided to stop what was happening. He said don't let disputes be settled in his class, otherwise he would go to the Department of Education. Shangbin was in a very bad condition and did not want anyone to see him like this. He threatened the teacher that he would get his own. Finally, the classes ended, the students clearly liked them. Zhaoya asked her brother what happened to him. Ying was also leaving and said goodbye to the teacher. She went beyond the threshold of the place of study. Her brother, who was waiting for her, grabbed her hand. He said that she was returning home, and this was not even discussed. Which greatly upset disciple Ying. Shangbin was outraged, saying that it was a shame to be beaten for nothing. Yao Han was supposed to be with them, why did he choose the side of the teacher, they thought. He walked with a swollen face, continuing to resent. He then asked the interlocutor if Zhang Huan was really forcibly teaching Lu Yong. To which Chao Xiong replied that it was definitely yes. Shangbin saw that the interlocutor was sure that he was talking, he decided to apply for a will detector. He also said not to forget to raise the fine to the maximum, as this is the best way to put the teacher in his place. Here we are shown the mansion of the Ying family. The apprentice knelt before her father. He did not understand how his daughter could choose such a bad teacher. But the girl does not consider him bad, he is not what he seems. The father considered this a lie, and began to get angry. He said that the teacher is only able to bring up trash like himself. The father was completely disappointed in his daughter. Doesn't she know what place her teacher occupies in the ranking? Then the servants of the family came, who said that the girl was just confused and she should listen to her father. One of the servants asked to see Wang Yan's, whose strength increased by 40% in one lesson. But Ying says that her strength increased by more than 100% with the teacher, and he healed her legs. But the doctor who was invited by her family could not cure her legs, while some garbage can. The servants laughed at Ying's words and she didn't like it. She clenched her fists in anger. She shouted that she refused to leave the teacher's class. The servants were a little surprised by what they heard, but continued to laugh at her words. Her father said either she was leaving his class today, or the doors to this house were closed to her. If Ying walks out that door, he will never come back. The girl stood near the column for measuring strength, and was about to prove it to them with actions. She made a strong swing with her right hand. And she hit the column with her fist very hard. Then she swung her right leg. And also hit the column very hard. The servants were very surprised by what they saw, since yesterday her striking power reached only 53. She would not have achieved this if it were not for the teacher. The father himself was shocked, the teacher really cured her legs. He then asked his daughter what the teacher was talking about at the lecture. But Ying did not remember everything, as the teacher talked about two deep things. The father was amazed at how it was possible to teach so subtly just the first rank. The servants were also stunned, the lecturer was a true master of his craft. The father asked his daughter not to leave the teacher for anything. He also asked the teacher to ask if he could accept other fighters from his father's clan, and if perhaps the father himself would not mind becoming his student. The servants reminded him that he was the head of the clan, how could he become a disciple of a person with such a reputation? Father quickly remembered who he was, and immediately changed his mind. The servant said that they are not like her father, they are ordinary old men, can the teacher take them as students? To which she smiled a little. Then Zhang Huan came to the library again, although his skills have improved, but he still knows little about martial arts. He greeted the venerable Mo, bowing slightly in front of him. The old man was a little unhappy that he came again. The teacher wanted to watch martial arts material, but Elder Mo refused to let him in. Our main character asked the old man why. Suddenly someone else came to the library. It was Shinbairu that Elder Mo immediately let in. She thanked the elder with a smile on her face. The teacher considered it dishonest, he is also a teacher, why can't he enter? He also wanted to learn, he assured the old man, while the girl looked at him and wondered why he had not spoken to her. Shinbairu put in a good word for him, asking Elder Mo to let him in, he as a teacher had every right to do so. Elder Mo agreed after all. But if the old man sees that Zhang Huan is disturbing the order, he will be to blame. The teacher thanked Shinbairu for his help. He decided to go to the library first. The girl thought that he would take advantage of the moment to speak to her. The teacher did not think that it would be so difficult to enter here. The library wasn't that big, he thought. If he hurries, he can look through all the books in a day. Then he needs to get started. Elder Mo heard the noise again from the library. He started to get up from the bench. The old man stood up from the bench, thinking that Zhang Huan had deceived him when he said he wanted to study. He went to the library to check if everything was in order, while the teacher read all the books with interest. Elder Mo would like to know what's on the teacher's mind. He reached for one of the books on the shelf. The book was about the methods of planting grapes. The old man wondered if he was really interested in planting grapes. Then the elder realized that the teacher takes everything. As he expected, Zhang Huan is up to no good again. Shinbairu saw something and was surprised. She looked at the teacher as he carefully read the book. Or maybe he knew that she would come to the library today and decided to attract the attention of the girl. Shinbairu will not let you create chaos in the library. She nervously asked the teacher what he was doing, to which he replied that he was just reading. She was not satisfied with the answer and she asked to leave the library. Because she, Shinbairu herself, does not like it at all. The teacher slowly began to move away, and the girl thought that he was finally leaving. But then she noticed something. Zhang Huan just went to get a new book. The girl thought that the teacher was trying to attract her attention in this way. But she only prevented him from reading. If she has nothing to do, let her go and draw circles in the corner, and not touch it. The girl was in complete shock, no one had talked to her like that before. If he decided to play smart, then Shinbairu will not yield to him in this, let's see how much more he will have. It was already night outside. The girl has been waiting for 6 or 7 hours, and the teacher was still reading books. Zhang Huan had been transferring books to the Skyway Library all this time and finally finished. He found a good training method suitable for Xiaoya. It was already 7 o'clock, but the girl was still in the library. The teacher did what he wanted and was about to return.